Hey, Brixel! Was Guild Wars 2 Steam release date just leaked? Absolute mad lad levels to 80 entirely through fishing. A player uses their in-game gold for IRL good, and is Guild Wars 3 closer than we think? Welcome to Last Week in Tyria. Apologies for getting these stories to you a little late. Now that restrictions on international travel have softened, I've been spending a lot of time with Mama Brick for the first time in 3 years. We'll be back to normal production soon, and in the meantime, you can log any complaints with her. Don't f with Mama Brick. Take it from me. Ding the thing if you haven't already, and a huge shout out to our old and new patrons who help keep me fed. You too can help keep me in fresh supply of light blue hoodies for as little as $1 a month. And with that, let's get into the news. So, Friends Detective Agency hopefuls over on the Guild Wars 2 subreddit were quick to notice something fishy going down last weekend. Changes were made to the web store API of the Guild Wars 2 Steam page. Most of the changes were cosmetic or SEO related, so we won't get into that. However, among these changes was something much more interesting. The release date of the Steam drop, the 23rd of August, 2020 at 7 p.m. UTC. Now, this is not confirmed, but it is looking good. But as exciting as this all may be, it's also a little concerning. I've gone on record many times saying that Guild Wars 2 needs a pretty hefty overhaul in the new player experience department. But as I've said before, they have to get that overhaul done before the Steam release. So yeah, looks like that ain't gonna happen. The bottom line is that Guild Wars 2's new player experience is basically military-grade rubber, with new players bouncing off long before they get to the good stuff. And although some changes have been implemented, they haven't been nearly enough. I'm betting that the current new player experience is what our Steam friends are gonna get, and honestly, all I can say to them is, good luck? To all the current players, let's be as welcoming as possible to the new wave of players and help them understand what's beneath that bouncy early game content. And to the Guild Wars 2 gatekeeping community, f**k off.
And now for something completely different.
So, conceivably, a woodworker could ditch all their tools and use only sandpaper to create a masterpiece, right? The thing that stops most people from attempting this is that when one half of their brain says, we could do this, the more rational half of their brain says, yeah, but should we? So anyway, meet World of Enders, the streamer that either ignored that sensible voice in their head or never had one to begin with. Cause he leveled the mild-mannered old fisherman boots entirely up to level 80 exclusively by fishing. Insane grinds like this remind me of that one guy that max leveled as Pandaren in the starting zone, gaining XP through herbalism. Though in the case of World of Enders, it isn't as insane as it first seems. I was shocked to find out that the fishing grind only took 60 hours, which honestly, I know players who have spent more than 60 hours getting to level 80. World of Enders did clarify that he used every leveling boost he could get his hands on, but still did not kill a single enemy outside of the tutorial. By the time he'd hit level 80, not only was all fisherman boots a fish massacring badass ready to backhand even the toughest of bosses, but his efforts also netted him a tidy sum of over 300 gold in sold materials. On the other hand, I have to add that if this sort of sadomasochism is what does it for you, then fine, but also, are you okay? World of Enders, do you need someone to talk to? Brixel's here for you. No, I kid. Well done, World of Enders. That is some seriously impressive dedication. Next up, we move away from fish massacring and touch on a bit of a feel-good story. So the player base seems to be on the uptick, but we're always gonna have those leaving the game for one reason or another, and that's fine. However, instead of raging about it on the forums, some people are making their departure from Tyria a little more productive. UT on Reddit made a post titled, "Shout out to the Procrastinators." There he offered players the challenge of tackling a real-life project or goal in return for the kinda extrinsic rewards no Guild Wars 2 player can refuse. Loot. Yeah, that's the kind of motivation we should be using in our schooling system. In an interview I did with him, cause, your boy is a journalist, UT said, "I considered just giving it away, but I realized that would likely accomplish very little past the, ooh, shiny stage. Then I came up with the idea of using it as an incentive to motivate some Guild Wars 2 players into procrastinating a little less, which may lead to some lasting changes, like a habit and people feeling empowered." He spent over 4,000 gold on this project so far, and has helped motivate almost 30 people with different goals varying from learning French to going to the gym, studying, taking walks, and just tidying up a room. And yeah, obviously I took part. Did you not hear me say loot? And I have a pretty lousy sleep schedule. That's resulted in a few videos coming out later than I would have liked. So, long story short, exotic Viper's gear for my new wheel bender. And in return, I've been getting up at 7:30 every dang day. Thanks for the motivation, UT-mite. I'll leave a link to his Reddit post in the comments down below. He said there are still a few slots open, but seriously, don't bombard the guy or get salty if there are no more slots open. Nothing sours a good deed like unnecessary salt. Alright, so our last story for this week involves a heavy dose of speculation. There are a lot of ways this information can be interpreted, so I'll share my thoughts and leave the conclusions up to you guys in the comments. Here it is. Arenanet are hiring. Okay, not the most exciting headline when I say it like that, but once we get into the details, things do get a little more interesting. The Friends Detective Agency journalistic division over at toptierlist.net were the first to spot a job listing for a senior Unreal gameplay engineer on Arenanet's website. Now, yes, this could mean many things, but one thing I'm pretty sure of is that Guild Wars 2 is not getting an engine overhaul. That would be like trying to replace every single brick in an 80-story skyscraper without it falling down, instead of, just building a new skyscraper. There are, however, 3 options of what it could be. Option 1. Guild Wars 1 Remaster. There's been a ton of demand for this lately, and if it did happen, they would definitely need a new engine. Would Unreal be the right engine for Guild Wars though? I don't know, maybe we'll get a dev on the show sometime to talk about it. But one thing is certain, Unreal Engine would be a massive departure from the Havoc engine that Guild Wars 2 currently runs on. Option 2. This is the one that's got the whole community in a bit of a tizzy. Yeah, I said tizzy. And like I said, speculation. Could this be the first sign of Guild Wars 3 on the horizon? The upcoming Ashes of Creation is built in Unreal 5, and that game is looking really good. So building Guild Wars 3 in Unreal 5 wouldn't be completely unimaginable. Now, there's also a third option, but it's the least exciting. The hire could be for an entirely different IP or project. Maybe Arenanet have something else up their sleeve, or maybe they're doing some support for NCSoft. Yeah, frankly, I'd prefer all hands on deck working on Guild Wars, but I'm very biased. Either way, this is literally just one job listing, so I guess I'll put my pitchfork and torch in the shed for now. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. But before you go, your boy Brixel was on a podcast. Go check out the first episode of Hydrated Gamers where Mooplis had me on to chat all things Guild Wars 2 with fellow creators, Bloom and Tom from Badka's dad. Great guys, great conversation, link in the description. It was a packed show this week, so we ain't got time for a comment response this time. But be sure to leave your thoughts on any of the topics we covered this week, and I could be responding to you in a future episode of Last Week in Tyria. A big shout out to our patrons, and a colossal huge shout out to our Guardian tier patrons, Anthony Hodgson, Liam Pullis, and Phil DeVet. Please consider supporting the channel if you haven't already. Every little bit helps. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I've been Brixel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.